Hello everyone and welcome to Forever Rugby, and we have officially culminated in the end of the first round of Super Rugby Unlocked, and whilst no surprising results maybe, just some very interesting performances. And I think if you look at it, a massive statement by the Cheetahs, and a Bulls got away with one really. Before I get any further, I just would like to apologise for not getting the Bulls and the Cheetahs previews up in time. Had a bit of family drama today, so unfortunately I wasn't able to get those done before the matches. But yeah, let's just look at the weekend. So obviously yesterday, the Sharks and the Lions got things underway, and it was quite a pretty scrappy affair, really. Both teams, quite sort of error ridden. I mean, it wasn't exactly free flowing, running rugby that we all hoped to see. So it wasn't, the best of games. And at the end of the day, it was a game where a draw was probably a fair result. Lions sort of a couple of decisions late on which cost them. Obviously, Alton Yankees hitting the posts just a couple of minutes before the end, and then turning down the chance to get the 3 points to go and try and go for a scrum and losing the penalty, and that was the end, which means the Sharks won 19-16. But quite a tight affair, only one try apiece. So I wouldn't say it was a massive sort of, the Sharks came out in the first sort of 20 minutes and played really well. And as a Lions fan, I thought, well, here we go. It's going to be a long 80 minutes. But the Lions in the second half really did come back into the game. And I think on the balance of play, they deserved to draw. They did enough to get the draw. I think a Lions victory or a Sharks victory, I mean, even the Sharks victory itself doesn't quite tell the story of the game entirely. It was quite a tight match itself, but a bit sloppy and not quite what we want to see. And hopefully the standard of rugby just improves, because it's now the third game that a lot of these players are playing. And, we do want to start seeing some more consistency. I said that we need to be patient and we need to sort of give them time to get back to their best, but we can't give them forever. We want to see good rugby, we want to see running rugby, we want to see some positive signs out of both camps, really, because, neither team was exactly particularly well disciplined. Just some rookie errors from both teams, really. But standout performance, I thought Sikumbuzo Noche had a very good first half, looked quite good. Oxenshare worked very well. Cohen Bosch kicked pretty well, but he also missed one, as did Alton Yankees. So, Battle of the Flower House is a bit of a tricky one, because, Yankees obviously missed the penalty towards the end, and there's been a lot of calls about poor leadership, which I think is a bit harsh. I think it's a side where, they're struggling with their identity. I think there's lots, at the end of the day, there's people that have been there for a long time, but everybody's quite inexperienced in their role. Yankees is still in his first year as captain. Even Van Rooyen is still in his first year as coach. So it's still quite a team that's just trying to gel. And I thought Willem Alberts was quite good in defense, but it was quite quiet for the Lions. And some players which we really wanted to step up were very quiet. I thought Morne van den Berg, when he came on the scrum off, was very bright, tried very hard, worked hard. But we didn't see any of the Lions' backline, which is a shame. And even to be fair, there wasn't massive go-forward ball. So, yeah, a bit of a letdown. In terms of the Sharks, and then Nahamba continues to look really good. Didn't have his best game, but, he's just so bright, and he gets good ball, and he's feisty, and he's nippy. He's always in the ref's ear. He's quite confrontational. Very much in people's faces, which you want as a scrum half. So I thought he was quite good. I thought in the Sharks backline, I mean, the Kanya didn't have too much to do. I mean, the backlines really were quite quiet. And even when it comes to sort of the forwards, it was quite, because it was such a scrappy game. It's difficult to try and remember some standout performers. For the Lions, Tuka was quite good. The Sharks forwards worked quite hard. The loose forwards got around a bit, both Pepsi Buthelezi and Noche. And yeah, but it was just a bit of a disappointing game overall. And hopefully we'll see better from them. But it's the only positives you can take for those two teams. The Lions get a bonus point away against the team that was the form team of the Super Rugby, and the Sharks get away with a win. So a game to forget, really. But that's what happened. And then the Cheetahs today. I mean, all the talk about the Cheetahs having to make a statement, and the fact that Saru has decided to kick them out of the Pro 14 effectively, and Jeepers that they come out and make a massive statement. They ran in. So many tries. They had a massive lead at halftime, and the Pumas came back in the second half. So the game finished 53-31, which could have been really ugly, because the Chiefs were in a very dominant place at halftime. But how was that for a statement? Running in 8 tries on the second day, on the opening weekend, to pretty much try and give Sorry a bit of a middle finger and say, listen, you've done us wrong by excluding us. And they have got so much to prove. And yes, it's against the Pumas. So, it now comes down to doing it against they've got Creekers next week, which is going to be a tough game. But it's when they play against the four, which have been tipped for Pro 14, that they really want to try and make a statement. And today they'll be in the top of the log, bonus point win, the only team to get a bonus point. So they came out firing and made a massive statement. And I think we saw the experience of Ruan Pienaar, who was involved in a lot. A hat trick for Malcolm Yar. It should have been a hat trick for Roscoe Speckman. So the Cheetahs wings are chipping in, but the Cheetahs do that. It is a team where their wings score a lot of their tries, which you always want to see. You want to be able to see a team which can effectively build a platform for the backline to then shift it out wide and finish in sort of the corners. You want to be able to see that. And there's a reason that Cheetahs wings always tend to be in the top try scorers, because that is how they play their rugby. And they play a very nice brand of rugby. Cheetahs have always played quite a nice brand of rugby. And it was a massive statement by them. And if they can keep that up, then Sorry, they could look a bit embarrassing for Sorry to have so quickly dismissed a team which might have a lot more to offer than some of the other franchises. So look, I don't think the Sharks and the Lions did themselves too many favors by quite a poor performance. And if they didn't do themselves any favors, then the Bulls certainly didn't do themselves any favors by, it's a 7-point win, but really scraping a 30-23 win against the Creekers. Because the Creekers led the game for 62 minutes. They came out firing. It was 10-0 at 5 minutes before half-time, and the Bulls got a penalty and ran in a try before half-time, and then got over the line in the second half. But I'll tell you, it was very close to a Creekers upset, and I think for all that the Bulls have added so many names and all these big changes, all these big money moves within the union, they struggled, and I think their fans expect a lot more, and they are under a lot of pressure because they've made such a big investment, and they let go a lot of players who aren't particularly happy about them. Warwick Galant decided that his future is better off at Stormers, same as Mani Liebach. Burger Odendaal was captain of the Bulls and was told that he was surplus to requirements, and he came out and said he couldn't actually believe how they treated him. So, and the problem is, if you go and do that as a union, it's fine if you then see the results on the pitch. But that side was very close to not seeing the result on the pitch. And I think to a certain degree, it's almost a little bit of arrogance, to be honest, because they rested a few players. Something like Dwayne Vermeulen, and I think, even something like Curtly Aronsa, they said probably could play, but they said they didn't want to risk it. And what they basically sort of meant is that they could play, but at the end of the day, are we going to risk playing them against the Griquas? A side which hasn't played rugby for 14 months and would have been deserved winners of the game. So I think at this stage, the Cheetahs were the only ones that came out and really impressed and made a big statement, because the Bulls struggled to get past the Griquas. The Sharks didn't exactly outplay the Lions, and the Lions come up short and maybe shouldn't have. So we can't comment on the Stormers. They obviously didn't play. They're only into the competition next week. But not exactly a weekend where you can see these are the three front runners, because at the end of the day, the Bulls look beatable, the Sharks look beatable, the Lions were beaten, and it was just the Cheetahs really, who even in the second half were a bit sloppy, but at the end of the day, they had the lead and they could do it, So it's only the Cheetahs really who have come out and made a big statement, and that's very interesting, and probably the last thing Sorry wanted. Sorry would have wanted to have seen, a really good performance by both Lions and Sharks. They would have enjoyed the fact there was a tight game and there wasn't much to separate them. But I think they would have preferred better rugby and fewer errors and a much better advert for the game. And when it comes to the Bulls game, I think, with Sorry's decisions made, they would have been really hoping that the Bulls were going to go and make a massive showcase of exactly why these are the four teams that are being backed to go overseas, exactly why the Cheetahs have been relegated to whatever Sandsar competition is going to be, because they have to justify their decisions. And at this stage, it hasn't gone well for them because the Cheetahs came out and made such a big statement. So a very interesting weekend. And if you have a look at next week, it's Cheetahs versus the Bulls. So this is when the Cheetahs have a big chance to make the statement and to go and say, especially a Bulls which look quite beatable, and the Cheetahs, will look at that and say, we can go out and make a statement. The Cheetahs will be looking next week Friday to go out and say, right, we actually deserved to be in the Pro 14, to be kept in the Pro 14, and this wasn't fair. The Griquas play against the Pumas, so a nice chance for either of them to get off the mark. And Stormers host Lions. So Lions away again, which isn't great for them because they thrive when the altitude, but they're playing against the Stormers who didn't play this weekend, so they'll be fresher, but also hopefully a bit rustier. And the Lions can try and exploit that. But also the Stormers have to come out and make a big statement. They've got such a good squad, so many youngsters, and no excuse really not to perform, that they'll be under a lot of pressure as well. So an interesting weekend coming up. But if you look at this weekend, it was quite an underwhelming weekend. But I did say we need to expect this kind of performance for now, and it'll take a while for players until they click. You also got to look at the injuries. A lot of players, obviously, having not played and not taken contact for a lot of months, that's why there are a lot of niggles. So like a Dwayne Famula, Nizam Carr, with the Lions there are a few as well. A couple of players who've just picked up, like a bit of a rolled ankle, a couple of stingers on the shoulders, and a couple of rib injuries, just because the players aren't used to taking the contact. So we will see that as well. It'll take a while for that to kick in as well. But at the end of the day, and what I keep saying, what I keep emphasizing, is that the point is that rugby is back and we've got something to fill our weekends with. And that was the same thing today and yesterday. Not the best rugby, not anything we're going to write home about, but it is rugby, and it is live rugby, and we can get behind it, and it's actually rugby that means something, which is the main thing. Please make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, bottom right-hand corner. We're trying to hit 100 subscribers, and we're just 6 away, so please make sure you subscribe to the channel. And share it with your friends. And jump in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this weekend. What performances stood out for you. Which players stood out for you. What teams you're backing. Who you're supporting. Please let me know in the comments. I want to know what you think. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll chat to you soon.